Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about how the hips work in the golf swing. All right guys, so let's talk about how the hips work in the golf swing. What I want to do here is give you kind of an overview of how they work in some simple terms. So let's get started here. So from face on, and we'll do this from both sides, from face on at the address position, there's kind of two things we're going to look at. One is going to be, where are the hips in space in terms of their alignment? So are they to the right or closed? Are they pretty square, or are they to the left and open? That's kind of one thing we're going to look at. And the second thing is going to be the tilt, right? So am I tilted to the left, meaning is my left side, my pelvis lower than my right, and is my right side lower than my left? Full discretion as we go, I'm probably going to use pelvis and hips interchangeably, even though I know they're not, but okay. So where they are in space, square, right or left, and then the tilt. So that's kind of the deal. Let's assume at address, we're looking for the hips to be square, not pointed to the right or to the left, and we're looking for them to be level. So not left side lower, not right side lower, okay? As I go through my backswing, two things happen. Number one, I will go from a square position to a position where my hips are turned, okay? Probably everyone knows that. Your hips must turn some amount on the backswing, which leads to the next question of how much should they turn? If we did a little split screen here and I pulled up the top 100 golfers in the world and we measured their hip turn, would all top 100 have the same amount of hip turn? Certainly they would not. Some people will have more hip turn. Some people will have less hip turn. Where you are there depends on some other factors. To me, the main thing in terms of how much you should turn, if we looked at sort of just an average, we would say, people say, hey, your hips should turn 45 degrees while your shoulders turn 90. We'll use that as an average, that's fine. So your hips turn 45 degrees from square, which would be about right to there, right? If this was a straight line and this was a straight line, that's 90 degrees for Mary, who doesn't understand that. Here to here, 45 degrees would be here. That would be like 11, 10 o'clock on a clock face. From my side, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. My hips would turn about 45 degrees. Okay, that's about how much I'm looking for doing the backswing. I want your hips to turn as much as you need to the point where you can get your torso and shoulders turned to about 90. So if you only turn 10 degrees and then that means you can't turn against that, then you're not doing that. Are there some guys and girls on tour who are flexible, have trainers, work out every day, they're the best athletes in the world, who can not turn their hips hardly at all and turn against it? Yes. You and me, at a desk 9 to 5, golfing once a week, are you going to be able to do that? Probably not. So probably most of you need to turn a lot belt buckle big. That's the turn part when you go back. The second part is the tilt, okay? So I said that my hips or pelvis are level at address, basically. By the time I go from address all the way to the top of my backswing, my left hip, or left side of my pelvis, is going to be getting lower than my right side, okay? So from here, as I turn back, the left side, my left hip should be noticeably lower than my right hip when I go back. Is that something you need to think about? Maybe not, okay? These are just general things here. As I go back, how does that happen? If I start level, okay, my hips, right? Hip, changes the flex based on my knees changing flex. Meaning, how does my left hip get lower than my right hip? Well, you'll see from the down the line, it happens from my left knee bending and my right leg straightening some amount. If I just stood here and I bent my left leg like this, does that make my hip go lower or higher? Lower. If I go from a bent position and I straighten it, does that make my hip go lower or higher? Makes it go higher. So my left hip goes lower because my left knee's bending. My right hip goes higher because my right leg is straightening. That's it. You gotta turn, you gotta tilt when you go back, okay? From the top of my backswing then, as I begin my transition, my left hip is going to remain a little bit lower than my right until I get about halfway down, we'll say roughly. That's about when my hips get about level-ish, okay, meaning my left side is not lower than my right side. And then as I work through from level, then progressively I'm going to be pushing my hips up and forward into my follow-through. So from the tilt position, they're level, left hip lower than the right, left hip still lower than the right in transition to about halfway. Now they're level. Now from here, I'm going to get my belt buckle towards the target and push up and forward into my follow-through position. And they'll be essentially level is what we'll call those. Does that make sense? You guys following that? Is that too much? Level, left hip lower, still lower, back to level, essentially remain level, push forward into the follow through. That's the tilt deal. Turning, I'm here, I go back 45. Now I'm going from turn 45 to I'm gonna turn all the way through into my follow through, right? To the point where by the time I'm at impact, you know, I'd love to have my hips open 30, 40 degrees or so. We'll show you from down the line. And then I'm fully turned into my follow through. Does that make sense there as well? So we'll show you from the down the line perspective. Just want to give you some quick and easy references for these things. I'll show you from down there as well. All right, guys, so hips from down the line, we'll do the same things. Two things, remember. One is the tilts, two is the turn. Number one with the tilts, level here. My left hip is getting lower than my right hip. You should both see from down the line that my knees and legs are kind of bent the same amount at address. And because my left knee is increasing its flex and my right knee is losing flex, you'll start to see, you can see my left knee now and you couldn't before. Now my left hip's lower than my right. It's going to remain lower than my right to about halfway down. Now they're level, and now from here I'm going to push forward up into my follow through. Okay, that's the down the line version of that. Hip turn, I'm starting to from about 0. I'm turning back to about 40, 45 degrees to the top. I'm right from the top. I'm not waiting to turn my hips. I'm right from the top turning back to the point where ideally at impact I have 30, 40 degrees. Ideally, not all you're going to touch that, okay? I'm some amount open from square, and I'm continuing to turn all the way into my follow through. Your hips are going to slow down some amount. Right? The concept is from here, I'm going to turn my hips from 0 all the way through with kind of no pause. The reality is, as I'm going to strike the ball, I'm going to slow down these segments. Okay, I'm not going to actually turn all the way into my follow through. There'll be a pause there, but I want you to feel like you're turning all the way into your follow through. So those are the two pieces, tilts and the turn pieces. To keep things simple, right, you have to have some hip turn going back. How much should you have? Enough that you can turn 90 degrees. That's pretty simple. From there, you're going to turn them all the way into your follow through. I've never seen someone who has too much hip turn. Ever, 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 ever. I will never, as long as we're doing golf stuff, see someone who has too much hip turn. Ever. You might be out of sequence, whatever. You're not going to have too much hip turn. Now the tilt pieces, can you overdo some tilt pieces? You probably can overdo some tilt pieces, okay, but I just want you to know general things. We're probably not trying to go level, level, level. That's not reality. There will be some tilts, and check me on these things. Look up golfers who you like and watch them, okay? And again, as all this stuff, this is informational. I want you guys to understand some of this stuff may or may not apply to you in terms of do you need to think about this, but don't be shy with the hip turn back or through. Turn as much as required. There are some tilts, it is what it is. As always, if you guys have any questions, leave us a comment down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you guys like the video, please do me a favor, click the like button down below. Click the notification bell if you haven't already, and please subscribe if you haven't. Also, another quick reminder, if you guys do want more of our premium content, the membership site is live. You can find the link in the description below. Thank you guys. Hi, I'm Eric Cogorno. We're excited to share Cogorno Golf with you guys. Here's some of what you'll get. First, an on-demand video library of over 100 instructional videos that cover everything. I'm talking setup, backswing, downswing, impact, short game, putting, and much more. Premium members will also have access to exclusive over-the-shoulder lessons where you'll watch me working on the lesson tee one-on-one with a student live. I'll be helping students not only through mechanical elements, but also through feels and drills they'll need to improve. We're providing a wide array of content, tools, and interaction points to help you get better. Plans will be starting at $19 per month.